wrong, pup? Locked into the screen. That scares you when snow comes off the roof. You get hit one time? See? Excuse me. What's up? Careful. You throw that? Got a wolf howling right there at the end of the thing. Kelly's into the deck here. Hey. What's up? What's up? Hey, what's up? Tired? You don't want to go for another walk. You don't want to go for another walk, do you? You look tired. You just ready for bed now? Yeah. not for you. Ooh. This is one of the reasons that I didn't put this stove inside, and why I ended up opting to remove the other stove and put the new one in. That's airtight. It's just too much smoke inside the cabin. Not that I couldn't have made it work. It's a little bit safer, cleaner. And I always needed one for the outdoor kitchen anyway. So although this would be nice looking inside, I like it out here too. And here we are, November 16th, I think it is. It's going up to 10 degrees Celsius today and sunny. 10 again, I think, tomorrow, which is above normal for now. But perfect day to be cutting up the last of the moose and the bear, and maybe even flushing out the hide for the deer. And then I'm going to render down, well, a couple things. So I'm rendering fat inside, the tallow from the deer, to make just tallow for cream and stuff. I don't like cooking with it. I know my daughter cooks with tallow, but beef tallow, I don't think it tastes as good using deer tallow. We prefer lard, either pig fat rendered down or bear fat's our favorite. So the tallow will be for like creams and face creams and leather protectant and wood handles and stuff mixed with beeswax. So that's what I'm doing that with that. And then I've got the big pot of deer bones rendering down. And I'm also going to cut up the moose bones, roast them. I've got a couple roasted there. Gave one to Callie. Cut those up and make stock out of them, or put them back in the freezer for Callie. But the other thing I have is a whole ton of I don't know how much is there, 75 pounds maybe, of lamb for my sister. She used to, well, she up until a year and a half ago, she raised all of her own meat. So cows, beef, pigs, chicken, ducks, rabbit, and sheep. So she's got a bunch of lamb that she had put into the freezers, and then she moved twice since then. And she just moved again. So as she was moving, she gave me a bunch of the lamb, but it had been moved around a lot and it was getting old, probably 2 years old. So rather than use it for us, I feed it to Callie, but she kind of reacts to it raw. She gets really bad gas, so we're cooking it down, so that eliminates that problem. So what I'll do is a couple of big pots, a few of them. Hopefully I've got my bigger, wider pans, Put that on there, render all that, or not render, but cook it all down. Then cut it up into 1 pound portions that she would eat in a day. Put that back in the freezer in packages, or might even can some. So lots of meat, all the meat for the year pretty much, between the moose and the deer and the bear, and then another deer, like I said, deer or two, hopefully before December, the end of this year. So that'll be enough meat for the entire year. So I might get a pig too. Another pig just for the fat, mainly fattier cuts for like breakfast and for mixing with the leaner wild meat. This hide is really hard to get off because it's frozen. And all the meat's still frozen, of course, but I need to get the hide off so that it'll thaw a little bit so that I can cut it up without having to use like a power saw. I'll be able to use a hand saw to cut through the bone and stuff and some of the meat cuts, but anyway, 3 days ago, that's when I turned the freezer off and opened it up in the cellar so that, you know, cold air would. Cold problem is it's a chest freezer. The cold air settles in the bottom, but I thought there'd be enough air temperature, warm air temperature, in that cellar to thaw it, but it's only like what, 8 degrees Celsius down there maybe, because it is a cellar. So it's good when I don't have power, or I can let the power go out, or if we run out of solar power, the freezer doesn't, like when it stays closed, it doesn't thaw even like 7 days. Like nothing even gets, maybe a little bit on top gets a little bit soft, but nothing actually thaws. But I need to get this done. I need to get that freezer moved back. I had clad the wall behind the freezer with wood. Now I need to push the freezer back in. So it's empty now that I've got all this out. So now I need to put it all, you know, get it all cut up and then move it back into place, and that's where it'll stay for probably ever. So I need to get all these quarters, this quarter minus some stuff, all the deboning that I ended up doing to the moose to get it out, and then this quarter. So get this all cut up and packaged. Get that lamb repackaged for Callie, and then start restocking the freezer and get it back in place. Hi everybody, welcome back to the cabin. Thanks for watching that video. I know it's not for everyone, but it's something that I do regularly and do every fall, and I think it's necessary to, or it's helpful maybe to some people to show that, but also just to show, you know, what the full lifestyle entails, and that includes harvesting game, harvesting food from the land, and in my case the deer, the moose, and the bear are the animals that we have here that we can harvest, the big game animals that we can harvest that provide a lot of meat, provide a lot of calories. Now, one thing, the reason I want to talk to you at the end of this video is that processing in the kitchen, in the outdoor kitchen, processing that game meat was okay, and the temperatures were pretty well perfect for it, so I didn't have to worry about spoiling. But yeah, most people would not think it's clean enough, like it's not hygienic enough. I'm not concerned about that, but I would not ever process game in an open air setting with, you know, nothing wrong with an open air setting, but with the like dirt and debris and stuff blowing around, it's not ideal. And not having a stainless steel surface or a hard plastic surface or something to cut on means that I'm cutting on wood, which can hold some bacteria, so it's not ideal. What it I think is highlighting, the more I do all of these things, because a lot of what I'm doing, I'm kind of testing out the systems that I need to, or my family needs to, you know, thrive in a situation where we choose or are forced to live this type of lifestyle. That's the one thing that really highlighted to me this year. And this is the first year, I think, second time ever that I've harvested bear, deer, and moose in the same year. But it's the first year that I've harvested a turkey, bear, moose, and deer, and especially a buck deer and a bull moose with archery equipment. So having this much big game to process in 1 year, and I'm not done yet. We'll get, like I said, a couple more deer. The family will get at least a couple more deer to process. What it's highlighted is that I need a better setup, better systems. The moose, for example, was difficult because that was September when we shot the 2 bull moose, and had to get it out of the bush to a freezer instead of a cooler. There was no cooler available, like no butcher nearby. So into a freezer in quarters, and then I had to transport that from there to here and into my freezer. Because the weather was so hot. In fact, the flies were just all over the animals as soon as I shot my bull, because I got it later in the morning than Justin got his. So the flies were all over it, and I had to get that meat out as quickly as possible and into game bags. So ideally, if so, that highlights basically that warm weather animals, and the bear was the same thing in the spring actually. I need a cooler. I need a walk-in cooler. That freezer in the cellar converts to a fridge. Like you can turn it down to fridge temperature because it's like an off-grid freezer. But the problem with that is that if I have things already in there frozen, then I can't put it onto fridge mode to cool it for like 4 or 5 days, and can't really get good air circulation like you would if you were hanging it. So anyway, what it's highlighted for me is that I need a walk-in cooler. So I'll build something here or on the other homestead, just sort of a probably big enough closet essentially that's fully insulated with a cooling system like an air conditioner, but drops the temperature and keeps it down to about 5 degrees Celsius, which is what, 40 or 40, low 40s Fahrenheit, so that I can hang something for 4 or 5 days. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is that that'd be better if that was bigger than that, so that I could actually go in with a stainless steel table, take the meat from hanging, cut it off, put it onto a stainless steel cutting surface, or some kind of sanitized and clean hard surface that I can cut the meat up on, and maybe even have a proper saw in there as well. So that's definitely on the agenda now, moved up higher in priority before next hunting season, I would say. And then the other thing would be like a smoker, so they can smoke the meat, make our jerky a little bit faster than I'm just doing with the temporary smoking systems. So a big enough smoker that I can do really large batches of jerky or dehydrated meat. So those are priorities. And then the sauna, the bathhouse, is a high priority to get this homestead completely up to the level that I've got the other homestead, the other one that I've been working on for the last 4 years. To get this place to the point where I have full cooking, food preservation, storage facilities, cleaning, bathing, and water. So I have a lot of work to do to get this place to the same level as the other place. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll have to go to Patreon or the podcast to listen to what I've been talking about, what I've been doing behind the scenes for the last 4 years. Now, the other thing is that, the moose, I have to travel pretty far to get a moose in a place that we can get a tag. So even though I've got moose all around me all the time right here, it's going to take us as a family, 5-10 years to get a tag, and we'll get one maybe every 5 or 10 years, depending on how many of us apply. So that's an issue. So to have to travel far to get moose, which means deer that we can just buy tags over the counter for, will have to be the priority, and bear, priority game species for providing the majority of our calories. So the reason that's important, so basically on the two properties, one of them is smaller and it's almost all like hardwood species, and the main food source for the deer in that area are oaks, and I have a lot of oak trees and very productive mature oak trees that drop acorns. So both on my property and then the adjacent crown land. So no cover for them to sleep at, basically security cover. So they go somewhere else during the day to live, basically, and then they come on to my property to feed. Now that happens very small windows depending on the season, in the mornings and the evenings, so it's difficult to hunt, but I have been successful there. So that's an issue. So I'd have to start managing the forest to create a little bit more cover for them there, so that they're more comfortable to come in during daylight, so that we can harvest them there. Here I've got the opposite issue. Literally, and I'm completely surrounded by crown land, and this parcel is a 100-acre private parcel. This is really good cover. You see pretty dense forest all around me, and then right on the edge is a major oak grove where the acorns every second year are dropping like crazy and really produce a lot of acorns. So my challenge hunting this property right now is that they're using the property as security cover to spend the daytime hours on, but only in really difficult spots to get to. And then they're going kind of off the property, not completely, like I've got some oaks that they're hitting pretty hard, but the majority are going onto this crown land, this public land parcel. And when those acorns are really available to them, like they are before the snow falls, they're actually bedding closer to the north of me in the swamps. So they're staying off this property and just kind of going through the property. So that's made it challenging. And of course, in that area, that's where we have, during these 2 weeks of rifle season, deer season, we have other hunters that come in and are hunting it and putting pressure on it. So they're making the deer kind of nocturnal and difficult to hunt. So I'm going to be more successful in the next couple of weeks here as the snow starts covering up some of those acorns and more isolating the feed zones. So so my goal here then is to thin out the forest, because the forest is getting mature. It's over 85 years old now since the last fire. It's getting high, close canopy, less sunlight hitting the forest floor, and very little stuff growing up low for them to browse on. So that's why they have to spend even the daytime hours in beds where they have more food available to them, where they can get up in security cover, eat, and then go back to bed until the cover of darkness. So very different properties, very different objectives and methods that I need to use to make it more suitable for wildlife. Now, one thing I have been doing is inventorying the wildlife. So over the last 4 years on both properties, what I've been doing is got trail cameras everywhere. I've got feed zones where I'll feed the deer, and I've got mineral licks where I'm providing minerals for the deer. So throughout the year, they've got some kind of attractant that I'm able to inventory or count the deer on. So they'll come in and I get them on cameras, and then the cameras on the random trails, I get them passing through different areas. So I get a real sense of the number of animals here. So what I've determined, moose really have wider, bigger ranges. So I've got several cow moose that use this property as part of their home range, and then have probably 2 or 3 bulls that use this as their primary home range. And then during breeding season, when those cows come into heat, we got 5, 6, I think maybe 7 bulls I counted this year that'll come onto the property to breed. With deer on this and then there's no moose really on the other property. We've got like 1 will go through per year kind of thing. The deer here, I've got, last year I had 5 does that I could identify, or 5 antlerless deer, including their fawns of the year, and then I had 7 bucks. And I think this year I've got, from what I can tell, only 5 or 6 does again, or antlerless deer, and 5 or 6 bucks, different bucks. And the other property I've got coming through to the feeding areas and to the oaks mainly. I've got more. I think there was 5 different bucks there, maybe not more, 5, 6 different does. But that property changes as the season progresses, because the deer move into that area in the later season and they spend the winter there. So I could have 50 deer within walking distance of the property. And then here, the deer move completely out. They move 10, 20 kilometers away to a deer yard, and there will be literally 0 deer here on the property. So, but within walking distance, I would say during hunting season, during the fall, I've probably got 20 deer maybe within walking distance. So that's pretty decent. So that allows us to be able to harvest several for the family without having an impact on the population of deer, especially if we do all this habitat improvement that I'm talking about to make the food more available and more available year round. And then they've got the security cover here. Wolves seem to have on average 3 wolves every year, and they do the rounds. Right now they are here because they've been howling like you saw earlier in the video, and they're smelling, of course, the deer meat. But even a couple of weeks ago, I found where I was hunting that they had been running the deer through there. There's one big wolf. He's going to be more purebred gray wolf, timber wolf. He's probably like 100-pound male. And then there's always seems to be a couple of smaller ones, either young of the year, or maybe they're females, or maybe they're just smaller. Smaller canines that have more coyote blood in them. Coyote genetics. So they have an impact. I found a moose kill, or at least a carcass that they've been feeding on. I found moose carcass earlier last year. Then some deer bones here and there, so they do have an impact. They are getting some. Don't have a lot of rabbits this year, but as soon as they do that habitat improvement, that rabbit population will start increasing. Bear, but by the other property I had 6 different bears this spring, and here I had 3 different bears. That will change kind of on and off, throughout the year, or throughout the years. But I would say that's probably a pretty good average for the 2 areas. Then grouse, you got lots of small game and like that of that nature. Got lots of ducks and geese at hill, the beaver ponds around here. So inventorying what I'm doing. I'm setting up the properties for family. If it was just me, it would only be one small little cabin and not much of an infrastructure, not much habitat or gardens and stuff like that. If it was just me, but my legacy, or what I'm working on, and have been pretty much my whole life, is security in the form of property that's not financially valuable, but resource valuable, so that you're able to live off of. So that's what I've been working on diligently, especially over the last 4 years, and it's for my family and extended family. So the 2 different places are for 2 different families, and then the black cabin that Emily was working on is another option for people. So I think that rather than becoming more urbanized, that I'd like to see my family become more rural and more self-sufficient, more self-reliant. So my focus, what I get up in the morning and excited about doing every day, is to set up these properties for the future, for my family, for my heirs, and hope that it is suitable and important to them enough in the future that it allows them to thrive. Because I don't believe that as a society as a whole that we're on a path to thrive, or without scaring people. I think if you choose to live an urban life, maybe you'll be fairly well taken care of. At least your basic needs are going to be met. But I think anybody who chooses to live a rural life is going to be more and more forced to live more independently, like have less available to them as support from society. So anyway, I'm hoping my family chooses this analog life instead of the virtual life, and that I've set up systems for my offspring and their heirs, or my heirs, to thrive. Anyway, like I said, if this is the first time you're hearing some of this, then you can go over to the podcast or to Patreon and get more information. I'll continue to expand on that. But that's it for this video. I know this was a little bit long-winded for a conclusion, but anyway, I'm going to get going. Gotta get this meat finished and get it into the freezer. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you back here at the cabin next time. Take care.